Have you ever been caught doing something on camera and then it goes awry? Well, today we're going to go over Stephen McDaniels and the murder of Lauren Giddens.
We here at Angry Me Production want to thank our sponsor, Mobile Notary Mindy. She's certified with the National Notary Association. She's also bonded and E&O insured. She offers a wide range of services including wills, powers of attorney, medical documents, healthcare proxies, living wills, certification of trust, assignment of personal property, HIPAA waivers, advanced healthcare directives, and 99 verification. You can find her on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Mobile Notary Mindy. You can also visit her webpage at texasmobilenotarymindy.com. That's TX, mobilenotarymindy.com. Thank you so much and enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen of all ages, boys and girls, thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Angry Me Production. We appreciate you coming in and letting us be a part of your lives week in and week out. We hope to do our best to present you with something that your eardrums delight in. Whether you're looking at us on YouTube or Rumble, or listening to us on Spotify, Google, or Anchor, or any of the other podcast services that we are currently on or trying to get on, we thank you. And if you don't mind, at the end of every episode, stop by, leave us a comment, leave us a like. If it asks for 5 stars, we'll take 5 stars, even if you don't like us. 5 stars are what it's all about. With that being said, we hope you enjoy our attempt to make our advocation our vocation. Ladies and gentlemen, let the games begin.
Welcome, Angry Faithful. That's right. We're going to go over Stephen McDaniels, and I got this through, just peering through the internet. I was trying to do something for this week, and I finally found a subject. But we're going to go over this case. This is kind of odd, and the guy looks freaking weird looking. Hold on, let me get a photo of him real quick. Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. No ads. Hold on. Let's get rid of that ad. Okay, there we go. Yeah, this is the guy right here. He looks weird. I mean, put in the comments how look he really is. He looks like a killer. Anyways, so yeah, we're gonna go over Stephen McDaniels now, and it all started in the early hours of June 26, 2011. Stephen McDaniels broke into the apartment of his neighbors and fellow Massachusetts United Law School graduate Lauren Giddens. Then he murdered her and dismembered her body. On June 29th, Giddens' families and friends reporting her missing. When local news media in Macon, Georgia, heard about her disappearance, they sent a camera crew to the apartment complex. There on June 30th, reporters from television WGXA conducted an interview with McDaniels. During the interview, McDaniels posed as a concerned neighbor. He described Giddens as a nice as can be and very personal. But shortly into the interview, McDaniels' behavior took a dramatic turn. After he learned from the reporter that a body had been found, his worries turned to utter panic. A body? He said, visibly angst. I think I need to sit down. Though some may initial thoughts that McDaniels' reaction was merely the shock of losing a friend. Police named him as the person of interest in the investigation just days later. And it was later revealed that McDaniels was indeed the one who had killed Giddens and butchered her. Given the nature of the crime and the brutality of it, and how little contact McDaniels had with Gillings prior to the murder. Many believed that he had been caught. Fresh everything. Given the nature of the crime and the brutality of it, and how little contact McDaniels was giving to the prior to the murder, many believed that he had not been caught. He would have gone on to killing even more women. Stephen McDaniels was born September 9th, 1985, and grew up near Atlanta, Georgia. His life earlier was unremarkable, but as a young man, he had academically inclined enough to graduate from Metzer's University Law School. His further victim, Lauren Giddings, was another graduate. By 2011, both 25-year-old McDaniels and 27-year-old Giddings living in the same apartment complex a short distance from the school's campus. At the time, Giddings was preparing to take the bar exam and then start a promising career as a defense attorney. But tragically, while Giddings had been preparing for the bar, McDaniel was preparing for her murder. At first glance, McDaniels didn't seem like he had it in him to commit such a heinous crime. I looked at the photo. He looked like a freaking killer. As McDaniels telegraphed reporters, it didn't even seem like he was staying in town for that much longer. The lease of his apartment was up in 2 weeks. He reportedly planned on moving back with his parents. But as police would later discover, McDaniels had been posting on the internet about his hatred of women and his dire desire to torture them. Oddly enough, he was also something of a survivalist, stockpiling food and energy drinks in his apartment. How's that a survivalist? Okay. Sometimes they put words on stuff and I don't even get it. But anyways, I digress. And as he told police during the interrogation, he was often wore the same pair of underwears for more than one day at a time. I don't get that. Okay. That's disgusting. I mean, after one day, my stuff is just rank. Daniels didn't have much luck when it came to women. He was on the eHarmony, but he didn't land many dates. He was also a self-proclaimed virgin and claimed that he was saving himself for marriage, and yet he had condoms in his apartment, a fact that would later prove that he had been very important to the investigation of Lauren Giddings' murder. That said, McDaniels caught the attention of authorities shortly after the investigation began. Shortly after Giddings' dismembered torso was found in the trash can near the apartment complex in the morning of June 30th. McDaniels and Giddings' other neighbors have been taken to the police station, given statements about the young woman's disappearance. At the time, none of them knew that her remains had been found. Each neighbor agreed that to have their apartment searched except McDaniels. It's the lawyer in me, he said. I'm just not always protective of my space. He eventually allowed one detective to walk through his unit, but only if McDaniels was there at the same time, given the damning evidence that the police would later found in his apartment. It wasn't surprising that he would want to keep them out. After all, he had Giddings' underwear in there and a stolen master key that he had used to break into her apartment. Because of McDaniel's secret behavior, police began to eye on him. But he wasn't going anywhere. Throughout the day, he hung around the apartment complex as authorities searched through the other units. It was around this time that he gave his infamous interview with the local news station. As Stephen McDaniel stood by while the police searched the apartment complex for clues, local television news station called WGXA sent a crew to a building to report on the story. When they spotted McDaniel standing around, they asked if they could give him an interview. He agreed. At first, McDaniel seemed like any other concerned locals who was worried about his missing neighbor. We don't know where she is, he told the reporter behind the camera. The only thing I can think of is that maybe she went out running and someone snatched her. One of her friends had a key. We went inside and tried to see anything was missing. She had a door jamb that was sitting right by it. So there was no sign of anybody breaking in. But by the time McDaniels learned the reporters that there is a body had been discovered in the nearby trash can, his demeanor completely changed. Visibly panicked, he was silent for a moment before telling the reporter that he needed to sit down. It was later revealed that only Gideon's torso had been found, and the other parts of the body had been discarded elsewhere. As McDaniel failed to maintain his composure, the police learned about their person and interest and the disturbing details of his personal life. Authorities would eventually uncover evidence from McDaniel's laptop that shown that he'd been gathering information on Gideon's and whereabouts leading up to her death. There was also a series of videos that indicate he'd been stalking Gideon, looking into her apartment unit through a window. The case took a toll for the worse for McDaniels when the computer evidence started coming out, and it just kept coming. McDaniel's attorney, Frank Hugh, later explained to CBS News, they weren't counting. They were counting to find more and more evidence related to onto his computer and a camera. The fact that McDaniels had posed as a number of internet blog posed on a number of internet blogs and forums about general hatred of women and desire to hurt them only straightened their case for his involvement of horrible murder. But even before the police had collected his information, they felt certain that they'd found the man that the initial conversation. Sorry. They felt certain they'd found their man based on their initial conversation with him. So on the same day they discovered Gideon's body, they brought McDaniels into the police station for another round of questionings less than 12 hours later. Wednesday, McDaniels was brought into the police station again on the night of June 30th, 2011. His demeanor was eerily still. He was also tight-lipped, only answering a few questions, most often response, I don't know. Even though when the detectives were out of the room, McDaniels sat perfectly still. The interview stretched on into the early hours of July 1st, and McDaniel still had nothing to say. Detectives David Patterson grilled McDaniels for hours, asking him about Lauren's location, asserting that he knew McDaniels knew what had happened, and he had acknowledged McDaniel's shift and demeanor from how willing he was willing to talk earlier that day on June 30th. Why are you shutting down? Patterson asked. I don't know, McDaniel said. Eventually, Detective David Patterson left the interrogation room, and Detective Scott Chapman entered. After another series of questions and no real answers, Chapman attempted to appeal to McDaniel's humanity. We want to give you the opportunity to tell it, he said, so you don't look like a monster at the end. I know you feel bad about it. Through the gravity of the situation was clearly weighing on McDaniels, he still refused to share any meaningful information with Chapman. It was only when Detective Carl Fletcher entered the room that McDaniel slipped up. McDaniel didn't admit to the murder of Gillings that night, but he did admit to an unrelated crime. At one point during the interrogation, Fletcher mentioned condoms that had been found on McDaniel's apartment since McDaniel supposedly was a virgin who was saving himself for marriage. Why did you have the condoms, and where did you get them? As McDaniels put it, he had previously entered a few of his classmates' apartments while they were out and took the condoms from them. And why would you steal condoms? You can get those fucking for free. Most what was it? Health centers or I think they're called health centers, health and wellness centers. You can get free condoms. Fucking people don't listen to their places and do research. Anyways, in other words, he has confessed to burglarizing his classmate's residence. Because of this, he was arrested on burglary charges as police gathered all evidence they needed to prove of his involvement with Lauren Giddings' murder. On 2014, McDaniel pleaded guilty to murdering Giddings. He admitted to breaking into her apartment using the stolen master key, strangling her to death, and dismembering her body with a hacksaw in the bathtub. After his plea deal, he was sentenced to life imprisonment with grasping crime. Since then, McDaniel attempted to appeal his conviction on numerous occasions, making allegations about ineffective counsel and the theft of defense trial preparations. Is that? It can't be that. Stephen Hawking's come from the grave and give us this word.
Preparations.
Preparations by the state. Yeah, I'm freaking dyslexic ass. So far, he has failed with all of his appeals, and although he will be ineligible for parole in 2041, legal experts strongly believe that he will spend the rest of his life behind bars. And that's about it. Let me see if I can pull up, see how long this video is. Because I have a video of him. Let's see here. Oh, this is 2 hours. There's a short one. Let me see. You can find a short one where they get. Sorry about this, folks. I should have been a little bit prepared, but I wasn't. I thought I had everything in tow. But there's a 2-hour video of his interview. All you have to do is type in his name and it comes up. I just want to get a shorter one. See if I can find a shorter one for you guys. No. That was a 30-minute one. No, there's no shorter video. Oh, wait. We can get the... Hold on real quick. Let me get that up and going. Yeah, no.
WGXA first interviewed McDaniel the day after Lauren Giddings was reported missing in June of 2011. Reporter Michelle Casada found him standing outside the apartment building where he and Giddings had lived, and that we now know was the scene of the crime. He talks about joining Giddings' friends to look for his law school classmate and how they entered her apartment to see if there was anything wrong. It was also the first time McDaniel found out that a portion of Lauren Giddings' body had been recovered by police from the dumpster where he had put it. Knowing now that McDaniel had murdered and dismembered Giddings, the interview provides a glimpse inside the mind of a killer as he builds his story and his alibi. Take a look.
Person that was living there? Yeah, Lauren was my neighbor. We're just trying to find out where she is at this point. I mean, no one has seen her since Saturday. I mean, the last time anyone heard from her was an email that she sent out, and no one's heard from her since.
And did you see her hang out with anyone at the time or anything like that?
I mean, no one has seen her since Saturday. I haven't seen anything. I mean, I've always heard noise outside, but it's just people walking by pretty much.
And she just recently graduated from Mercer?
Yeah, she and I were both JD students. We graduated back in May.
What kind of person was she? I mean, what did you see her?
I mean, she's as nice as can be. I mean, very personable, very much a people person.
Do you know any enemies she might have had, somebody that might want to hurt her?
No, we don't know where she is. I mean, the only thing we can think is that maybe she went out running and someone snatched her. Because we went over. One of her friends had a key. We went inside and tried to see if there was anything amiss, but I mean, she had a door jamb that was sitting right by it, so there was no sign that anyone broke in. I mean, the door was locked when everyone got here. I mean, we just don't know where she is.
What about in the the parking lot area? I know they've been doing a lot of. I think that's where they have recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
Had you heard? Had you seen anything there? Had you seen anything there? I mean, we don't know if this is the same person. You know what I mean? Like, they took out a body there earlier. We don't know if it's the same person or not. That's how we're trying to ask people if they know who lived there. Are you okay, sir?
I think I need to sit down.
Okay.
Yeah, there was an obvious change in his demeanor after you said the body. He's a body? And he started blinking very rapidly. Well, anyways, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. This is the end of this episode. Sorry if it's going to be that short. I'm still coming off of a very long trip we had this weekend, and I finally got to record this and do a little bit of research on it. And I knew it was going to be small, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Be careful who you talk to. Well, actually, it wasn't even talk to. She probably didn't even know the guy or talk to him. It's just one of those things that just ended up happening. But y'all have fun. Talk to y'all later.